please come to order.
Oh, crap. Hold on.
Judge.
Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Tough day and tough night for you, I know.
Open mic.
Let me
Headphones on.
ask, do you have anything you'd like to say before we begin? And I understand that your preference is, which is totally and completely understandable, that we go 1 hour tonight, 30 minutes on each side. Am I correct in that?
That's right.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Senator, I would like to start by saying unequivocally, uncategorically, that I deny each and every single allegation against me today that suggested in any way that I had conversations of a sexual nature or about pornographic material with Anita Hill, that I ever attempted to date her, that I ever had any personal sexual interest in her, or that I in any way ever harassed her. A second, and I think more important point, I think that this today is a travesty. I think that it is disgusting. I think that this hearing should never occur in America. This is a case in which this sleaze, this dirt, was searched for by staffers of members of this committee, was then leaked to the media, and this committee and this body validated it and displayed it at prime time over our entire nation. How would any member on this committee, any person in this room, or any person in this country would like sleaze said about him or her in this fashion, or this dirt dredged up, and this gossip and these lies displayed in this manner? How would any person like it? The Supreme Court is not worth it. No job is worth it. I'm not here for that. I'm here for my name, my family, my life, and my integrity. I think something is dreadfully wrong with this country when any person in this free country would be subjected to this. This is not a closed room. There was an FBI investigation. This is not an opportunity to talk about difficult matters privately or in a closed environment. This is a circus. It's a national disgrace. And from my standpoint, as a Black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity Blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the US Senate rather than hung from a tree.
1991. Let me give everybody the link to that video. I know everybody's seen it. When I use Rumble Studio, I like to start with a longer intro video so that I can go to YouTube, make sure that I've checked off this stream contains a paid promotion, make sure all the links are there, make sure we're live across all platforms, including all of them. We should be live on YouTube, but we won't be live for the entire time on YouTube. We should be live on Rumble, which we are. Hold on a second. Are we? Let me refresh. Okay, we're live. We're live on Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, where we're going to end as well, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com, where I was consulting with our above average community to see if anybody had any expertise on the taxonomy. Is that the word? Hold on a second. Let me Google that for a second. I think it's taxonomy. The taxonomy of animals. Taxonomy definition is the branch of science concerned with classification, especially organisms, systematics. There you go. The taxonomy of animals, as we're going to get to. 1991. And some of you should be taken aback and have your minds blown. 91 to 2001. to 2011 to 2021 to 2024. 33 years. That video is 33 years old, and some of you might be shocked to see Joe Biden has been in politics for that long, and he's always been evil. I looked at that video. That video came up recently during other confirmation hearings where they just showed you the tactics have never changed. Go find someone to accuse someone of sexual harassment or whatever, to drag them through the mud so they don't ascend to a position of political power. 1991, Anita Hill. He said there was a pubic hair on my can of Coke. 33 years ago, Joe Biden out there being an evil racist. That's what he has been, has always been, and presumably always will be, and what he seems to be reverting to in real time as he enters his second, third, or fourth stage of childhood. There was an amazing montage showing how whenever Joe Biden talks about black people, he uses the word boy, like my boy, or some demeaning term. And there was a montage. Maybe he uses it with other people as well, but there was a very interesting montage. I think I've heard my boy. Joe Biden, 1991, as racist then as he's ever been, and Clarence Thomas as righteous then as he's ever been, talking about a high-tech lynching. And we're living in an era right now where Clarence Thomas is getting the actual high-tech version 2.0 of that lynching. Corrupt, impeach him, arrest him, his what? It's amazing. And when he, with his righteous indignation, said this is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who dare think for themselves. It's an amazing thing when I heard that again, and it takes on new meaning because I had Dexter Taylor on. And I said, Dexter Taylor, you know, the man, the fact that he's black is not necessarily relevant to his conviction. But when we were talking about it, I say, like, you know, he's in New York. He's the guy who had the ghost guns, sentenced to 10 years. He's in federal prison. And Rami, I got to give him my address so that he can send me, he wants to send me some letters from jail. I said, you know, like, what do you think the ultimate message of all of this is? You're a law-abiding, value-added citizen to society. And he said, they want to tell us that uppity blacks are not free to defend themselves. You need to be at the mercy of the government and the people who implement this policy and implement this tactic to go after any person of color, minority who dares think for themselves. Get back on the, what's it called? Those things. Oh, geez, I forget the word. There's a word that I forget. Get back on the farm. It's not the word, not the farm. Hold on. These things where the plantation. Get back on the plantation. It's for us to control you. And these are the same people talking about institutionalized racism while implementing institutionalized racism. Yes, the chat got it a little. I mean, I've not been losing my words. If I look a little angry today, let me see if my foot feels any better. I was jogging on bad shoes, and I think I'm very nervous. I might have given myself a hairline fracture or a stress fracture in my foot, and it's been very, very painful. Then I went to a Tim Hortons, and I had lunch. If I'm sick, by the way, people, I might actually make myself vomit thinking about this. It's from the lunch that I just had at Tim Hortons. I had it a long time ago. I just wanted a grilled chicken sandwich. I just wanted some healthy grilled chicken sandwich. What I got, I don't know what was in that sandwich. So I'm cranky. Then I went to get an energy drink, and I just want a healthy energy drink. I just want one that has, I don't know, 40 calories, 30 calories, without stevia, without sucralose. Why can't I find a healthy energy? I just want a little bit of caffeine. I couldn't find a good iced coffee. And I'm angry and I'm cranky. And I'm sitting in line at the Tim Hortons. And I hear a couple in front of me, not a couple, like two gentlemen. They're getting lunch because the Tim Hortons is next to a hospital. And I hear them talking about their experience at the hospital. And everything, I'm in a moment of something of despair. What does it say? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm in a bit of existential despair only because there's no end to the dishonesty. There's no end to the corruption. There's no end to the tyranny. I wanted to go for a hike in the Laurentian Mountains. I get up there. Let me show you. If you're not following me on Twitter, I don't know if I posted it yet to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. I just wanted to go for a hike. I just wanted to go for a hike. You know what I see when we go for a hike? Look at this. Hold on. Here. Look at this. Oh, this is what I see when I go for a hike. Obligation de s'enregistrer en ligne. Scan the QR code. You want to go enjoy nature? Register online. Oh my goodness. I feel like it's the scene out of Network. Can you just leave me alone in the woods? No, you can't. Register. Let the government know where you are, what path your feet are on. And I'm listening to these two guys talk to me in front of me in the Tim Hortons. And one of them saying he's been in the hospital, sits there waiting for 6 hours. The other guy's telling him, I want elective surgery for something. It's a 3 to 4 year wait. But if I have the stroke because I didn't get the elective surgery, then they'll treat me right away. Then I ran into a sub on the streets, or a fan, a member of the community. Fan, I'm sorry, I don't mean like that at all. Like a member of the community, and I started complaining. And then the person says, "Yeah, well, look, it's not much better in the States if you can't afford health insurance. It's not much." I think there's no perfect system. There's trade-offs. One thing is patently, abundantly clear: socialized medicine doesn't work. And I'm listening to these two people talk about their experiences to get health care, and it's enough to make you give up. It's enough to put you in such a despair. It's like, I can't live freely. They won't let me walk on a freaking path in the mountains freely. They tax me out the wazoo over 50%. And then I can't even get sick and get treated properly. It makes you, but they'll offer me death. They'll offer you death real easy like. Oh, dances with aardvarks, just breathe. I'll breathe. Well, the other problem is I can't exercise. I have to take a day off. Oddly enough, my foot feels a little better. No, there it goes. It hurts again. So I had 4 kids this morning. We went to the St. Lawrence River. We went to this beautiful place, the Lachine Rapids. Tried fishing, but we're not going to catch anything in the fishless waters here. But so yes, good afternoon, everybody. We're gonna talk about it's the meltdown online over the Supreme Court immunity ruling is the most manufactured crisis of all time. They are whipping people up into a frenzy specifically for the purposes of triggering the unhinged to commit acts of violence. I'm thoroughly convinced of it. But before we even get there, people, I speak about health and I speak about eating healthy and getting your nutrients. I'm getting my vegetables in, but my goodness, I'm not doing Tim Hortons again. It's just the coffee's crap and the sandwiches. I don't know what the heck I ate. It was just disgusting. But I can tell you what is not disgusting, what everybody should be having. One of our 2 sponsors for today's show, Field of Greens. Well, I don't want to here. Brick, come on, unlock 50. Okay, get out of here. Get out. This is continue. Okay, fine. Continue in Canada. Oh, let's see if the government takes this website over. Field of Greens, people. Everybody should be eating 5 to 7 servings of raw fruits and vegetables a day, and most people don't eat that. Most people don't get it. You go to it doesn't matter. Eat your fruits and veggies, but if you can't, Field of Greens is a desiccated fruits and vegetables. It's not an extract. It's not a supplement. It is dried, pulverized fruits and vegetables that give you the antioxidants that you need. If you get the fresh stuff, get the fresh stuff. You need it anyhow. But cancel a negative, unhealthy habit and substitute it for a healthy habit. Field of Greens is made in America. It's a food. It's USDA organic, certified. It's delicious. It will give you 1 spoonful is 1 serving of fruits and vegetables with all of the antioxidant power. You do it twice a day. You swap out an unhealthy habit. You swap in a healthy habit. It's healthy. It's delicious. It'll give you the nutrients that you need to feel more energetic, get that gut biome back into balance. And if you go to fieldofgreens.com and use promo code Viva, you'll get 15% off and free shipping. It's available in Canada. It's delicious. Everybody should do it. fieldofgreens.com/Viva or promo code Viva. You'll get 15% off and free shipping. Get into the healthy habits, swap out the unhealthy ones. Field of Greens, delicious, awesome stuff. Thank you very much, Field of Greens. Link is in the description of the stream. And I checked off this stream contains a paid promotion box on Twitter. Viva back in Canada says dances with aardvarks. Yeah, for the month. Got a Rebel News event on the 12th where I'm going to be given a presentation on journalism. And at this point in time, I think I have to resign myself to not Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. Face it, Happy, you are a golfer. I'm like, I'm not a golfer. I'm not a golfer. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm an analyst. I am a truth seeker. And I mean, I'm trying to think now, what does being a journalist mean? I just want to understand. I want to make it make sense to me. And then I want to make it make sense to others. And I don't want to be wrong, not in the sense of I want to prove myself right. I want to make sure that I get it right. And if I get it wrong, make sure that I let everybody know that I got it wrong. Maybe that makes me a journalist. How the hell do I know? I'll be doing that on the 12th. And then I do believe we're going to be going down to the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. And I believe Barnes and I are going to be there together. And we are going to be two boys gallivanting around making history. We're going to do something amazing when we go down there. I'm doing that, family stuff, seeing family. And it's very wild to actually swim in water and not have to worry about alligators, or at least to fish. Like, I don't need to worry about alligators. I don't need to worry about parasites. But it's very boring because there's not as much fish wildlife. I don't see turtles crossing the street here. You don't have a risk of running into an alligator. That makes for a boring afternoon. All right, now speaking of alligator and speaking of diets, this wasn't going to be something I was going to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it now because I've consulted with my sources. I have fact checked because it's so. Can I swear, people? Am I allowed swearing? The world is so fucking dirty. I'm sorry. It's so dirty. It's despairing. It's one thing for people to drudge up things you've actually done in your past and hold them against you. That's one thing. It's another thing to exaggerate. It's another thing to even lie. The grotesque thing is you no longer have to have committed the crime in order to be sentenced for the time. Jan 6 is going to be the prime example of that. You no longer have to have actually done anything wrong in order for the full force of the government to come down on you, arrest you, convict you, lock you up. Steve Bannon is going to jail yesterday. He's going to start serving his 4 months leading up to November while the Democrats are in absolute meltdown. You don't even have to have done the wrong thing for the government to punish you as though you had. Canada, freezing of bank accounts, torturing people's existence for punishment, for having had wrong thing, for having stood up to the government. So I see this thing come up where it looks like RFK is being accused of eating a dog. I'm not joking. It's like they'll stop at nothing. Hold on one second. Let me get this. Why does the media, Matt Cordini? No, I'll get this one here. So he's being accused of eating a dog. Now, I love dogs. I also love cows. I love eating cows. I know that I hold a special place in my heart for anybody who would eat a dog. There's a Canadian politician. Hold on, let me bring this out for a second. Can I go to solo? Yeah, there we go. There's a Canadian politician, Catherine McKenna. Catherine McKenna eats dog. I know I've given her a hard time for this. Catherine McKenna. Hold on. Eats not dog, frogs, dogs, dude. Eats dog, Viva. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so Trudeau cabinet minister Catherine McKenna ate dog meat. She bribed her way into an illegal cockfight. And not the cockfights from the movie Skin Deep, like roosters fighting roosters. And they're vicious. They're disgusting fights. They're animal fighting is also something that I have moral problems with. I'm trying to think. No one's ever going to. I'm trying to think like, no, I mean, even animal racing, I don't like seeing horses get whipped, but whatever. Animal fighting, special place in hell for people who support that. So this is Trudeau cabinet minister Catherine McKenna, but a long time ago, 20 some odd years ago, bribed her way into a Malaysian cockfight, in an illegal Malaysian cockfight, and ate dog. Yeah, I'll give her a hard time for that. I like dogs and I like dolphins, like the actual porpoise dolphins, not the mahi-mahi. Those are delicious and you can eat them. I also like eating cow, and I don't think there's anything mutually irreconcilable about that. Dogs are fundamentally different. Higher order animals that are not animals that are intended to be consumed by their very nature. Call me a hypocrite, that's fine, but at least we know where we stand. Okay, so this article comes out and accuses RFK Jr. of having eaten dog meat. Now, it's a Vanity Fair hit piece, and they're going after alleged sexual improprieties that he performed against a babysitter 30 years ago. But I saw this. And this is coming from Matt Corridoni, DNC spokesperson. I should have known he's a filthy liar, accountable for the Democrats. Okay, fine. So he publishes it. And it says, here's a photo of RFK Jr. happily posing with a barbecued dog. New reporting in Vanity Fair reveals a friend has warned RFK Jr.'s campaign could cause him to, quote, go down as one of the great villains in American history. I think that's already happened. So it's a DNC Democrat operative lying. Quelle surprise. So I see this picture, and let me just see if I can give everybody the link to that tweet. Here, link. Boom. And I'll give it to our locals community. So everybody can go fact check. I see that picture and I'm like, I'm no biologist, although I know what a woman is. But I don't know what a dog carcass looks like versus, I don't know, say another small mammal that people have the tendency of putting a spit through and barbecuing, a goat. So I count the ribs and I counted 12 ribs on it. Then I go look at what animals have 12 ribs. Orangutans have 12 ribs. I was like, oh my goodness, this won't be any better if that turns out to be an orangutan. And I contact some sources. And someone then who is a trusted source sends me a link. And the link confirms what I suspected. Because if you look at the picture, contextually, it would make no sense why they would be eating a barbecued dog at what appears to be some sort of like professional gathering or a convention or something. Let me just see if I can bring this up here. Here we go. Share this. Okay, so the picture is back here. If you look in the backdrop, this looks like I'm not trying to be racist or judgmental in any way. This doesn't look like the typical context where you'd see people eating dog. Doesn't look like it's in certain Asian countries where dog is being eaten as, you know, it's eaten as a protein. It looks like some sort of like, I don't know, I would say a work gathering based on the attire, like a team building thing. And if it were a dog and RFK Jr. is posing like this, knowing that what makes that picture salacious is that it's a dog, it's a sinful thing, that would make me have a problem with him. Anyhow, this is what End Tribalism in Politics has written this, which I think makes more sense than he's posing with a grilled dog. Vanity Fair has released a very damning article about RFK Jr., including allegations that he sent a picture attached below to his friend showing him eating a dog and that he sexually assaulted a former family babysitter. The picture of RFK shows him eating cabrito, goat, not a dog, a popular Spanish-Portuguese dish. This took about 30 seconds to fact check, and it's pretty shameful that Vanity Fair would promote misinformation so blatantly. As for the sexual abuse allegations, we will need to wait for a response from RFK directly. What's sad about this entire article is that even if these sexual abuse allegations against RFK are true, they will be completely disregarded as false due to the clear lie regarding the cabrito. It is very suspicious that Vanity Fair has decided to release this article after Biden's abysmal debate performance and no doubt a jump in the polls for RFK after he held a separate debate which garnered millions of views over different platforms. What are your thoughts on this article? Complete hit piece or based in some truth? Well, it in fact could be a little of column A and a little bit of column B, like a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. It's a total hit piece. And we now know, at least from what I've been able to independently verify from sources who I trust, it's a goat, not a fucking dog. Okay? Might be a total disinformation hit piece, and there might be some truth in it. That RFK Jr. might have had an ugly relationship with someone who didn't feel the same about a sexual encounter that he did. Does that necessarily translate into sexual assault? No. Have we not learned enough from the cases in which people have been wrongly convicted in the court of public opinion based on some 30-year-old allegation that we're back to trust all women now? That when young men do bad things as young men, and I'm not talking about sexual assault because there's no but for that. Young men can engage in promiscuous behavior that leaves people feeling used and abused in the spiritual, emotional sense, not in the physical, sexual violence sense. And those memories can lead to accusations later on in life. So it is a hit piece. And there might be a little bit of truth baked into it in that I have no doubt that RFK Jr. engaged in relationships that left people feeling exploited. And that is very easy fodder to be exploited and abused in the future, as we recently saw with Russell Brand. Yeah, Russell Brand writes a biography about his life, about his sexual addiction, how he left people feeling exploited, used, etc. That's very easy fodder for future allegations when it's based on a 30-year-old gripe of having been exploited. That doesn't translate into sexual abuse. And those are very, very serious allegations that you make. Doesn't matter if they're true. There's going to be people right now who are going to believe that RFK Jr. ate dog. Even though I tried to Google the origins of that picture and I couldn't find it. But so that's it. It's just that you don't even have to have committed the crime now in order for the smear machine that are I say both political sides, but conservatives or Republicans have done it as well. You had What was the most recent one that went around? Oh, that Biden crapped his pants when he didn't crap his pants. He was just looking to sit down at an inappropriate time. You don't even have to have committed the crime in order for them to make the accusation against you, blast it, and have people believe it. I still say that goodness is its own reward, and that if you lead a decent moral life, then people might have greater difficulty believing these types of salacious accusations. And if you lead a life of some form of debauchery, even if you come around, change, and find the righteous path later on, you've given the fodder for people to make these accusations when you become politically of a political threat, that it becomes expedient to do so. Okay. Let me see what we got here. We got from Roostang in our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. Look at this. I can pin this up here. Now that you are in Canada, have you secured an interview with Democracy Now!'s lead litigator, Mark Joseph, re numerous cases about vaccine injury, civil rights, and legal contradictions? No, but I've had Democracy Now! On multiple times. And I had on Wrath a while back, but he's not Democracy Now! But I've had Democracy Now! On multiple times. I have to go double check on the date. And we got Chu Chong. Hold on one second. How do I do this here? Pin. Chu Chong says, are you following the Adam Skelly case handled by cccan.org? They seek to prove that there was no emergency, which would set precedents for so many charges. I am not following that. Unfortunately, there's just too many things to follow these days. And the biggest one is quite obviously the SCOTUS immunity ruling that I made a joke on Twitter, and I like it when I make an insightful observation, because if it's truly insightful, it'll get more traction. But I said, like, the Democrats have gone from, you can impeach a president for anything, it doesn't even need to be a crime, to, oh my goodness, the president can now assassinate his political rivals with absolute immunity, because Democrats are and I'm saying capital D Democrats, and I hate lumping an entire population together, but I'm saying the political operative capital D Democrats are insidious, evil liars who rely on the stupidity and the ignorance of their followers to believe their insidious lies. These idiots went from, you can impeach a president for any reason whatsoever. It doesn't even need to be a parking ticket. It doesn't even need to be jaywalking. You can not like the president's tie. You can impeach him. And you had the legal eagles of the world jumping on this bandwagon. You could impeach, convict, remove from office, and it didn't even have to be a crime. Now, all of a sudden, they're screaming out there, you can assassinate your political rival with absolute immunity, because they don't understand what the Supreme Court ruled in that case. So that was the big news of the day yesterday, and we're going to get into that in exactly 1 second. After, speaking of revolution, what the heck did I just do? Hold on, there we go. Speaking of revolution, people, as Vivek Ramaswamy, who I do not believe is in the running for the VP nomination anymore, as Vivek had been saying during his campaign, we need a 1776 movement right now. We need a 1776 moment when we fight for our independence from the, I don't know if oligarchy is the right word, but not from the patriarchy. That's certainly from the monarchy. We need to fight for our freedom and regain our freedom once again from the tyrannical dictators that have taken a hold of every aspect of their life, to the point where they make you QR scan yourself if you want to use their beautiful mountains. What comes before 1776? 1775, people. And if you're a Sleepy Joe, this is what you're going to want. Sleepy Joe with zero cognitive performance, scared of walking upstairs without being worried. You're going to fall down or up if you are Joe Biden. It's a miracle what he can do. Do you struggle to muster the focus and brain power for the basic things in life, such as eating ice cream or riding a bike? You need to stop drinking woke liberal coffee and start your day by drinking Rumble's very own 1775 coffee. Never mind that it will be the best tasting coffee you have ever had in your life. As in, seriously good. It's delicious. It'll put hair on your chest. Unless you are a hairless man like myself. It's also ethically sourced from a family farm in the altitude mountains of Bolivia. So instead of waking up tomorrow morning drinking your mold-infested big corporation woke ideology coffee that is probably making you sick from the pesticides sprayed on it, and if you want your coffee to taste like something, try 1775 coffee. Support freedom of speech, build a parallel economy that we so desperately need, and support a company that actually values you and your hard-earned dollars. Go to 1775coffee.com right now. Pick up your first bag. Use code VIVA. You'll get 10% off your first order, so make it a big one. My favorite is the dark. I take my I like dark coffee. I like tasting it. I like when I put the cream in it to see the cream come almost all the way up to the top, but not quite to the top. And then it has like a deep, dark brown flavor to it, a deep, dark brown color. I take mine dark, but they have medium dark peaberry. You won't regret it for a moment. Level up with your bag of 1775 coffee in the morning. Sleep well at night, knowing your hard-earned dollars are going towards us. Supporting a company that supports freedom-loving creators like yourself, that supports freedom-loving platforms like Rumble, and not the woke mob. Oh, now with that said, do we get into it, people? We're going to get into it. Do we get into some of the most insanely idiotic takes that are currently out there? Hold on, let me just see if we go back to here. Okay, let me make sure that I should go visit. Okay, we got that. That's good. All right, no, good. Catherine McKenna. Do we go and see some of the most insanely idiotic takes out there? When they say that this authorizes Trump to assassinate his political rivals with impunity, it's a David Mamet, every fear hides a wish. It's not a fear. That is a dog whistle call to violence. That is them telling you what they want to do. They are the ones literally talking about re-education camps while accusing Trump of threatening to put people in camps. They are literally the ones saying how Trump is going to weaponize the Department of Justice and the judiciary to go after his political rivals to put him in jail while they literally do it. So let me just, I mean, the thing is this, you get overwhelmed and you get despaired. You go on social media and it's something of an echo chamber. It's liars who have their followers, and then it's the calling out the liars who have their followers. Hold on, let me bring this one up before I say this. Viva, sorry, I got an itch on my face here. How are we going to keep Trump out of jail? It seems nobody is concerned. I am. Republicans didn't fix this on the first false indictment. He's also lost every case. He's not going to jail. I mean, I'll hopefully not be wrong on this prediction. He's not going to jail. Judge Marchand now has postponed his, let me just make sure that I'm not, Marchand postpones sentencing. I didn't think Marchand was going to even order Trump jailed, and I still think I'm right about that, but he has now postponed sentencing given the immunity ruling to determine if, hypothetically, in that case where Trump was making those payments for legal services because they were billed at and paid out for while he was president. And as we're going to talk about in that case, the majority of that Supreme Court basically needled all of the prosecutors, all of the judges, all of that process, and saying, the three-line summary of that case is absolute immunity for official acts that fall within the constitutional powers of the president, no immunity for purely private, purely personal acts, and presumptive immunity for things that fall within the outer sphere of presidential conduct. That's the summary. And it makes bloody sense. Assassinating your political rival is not a constitutional act, you godforsaken liars. Dan Goldman, I'm looking at you. So in the decision, in the ruling, let me just take this out for 1 second. The majority faulted the prosecution, the judges, all these people for never even having undertaken the exercise to assess what the nature of the alleged wrongful act was. Was it purely personal? Was it clearly presidential? Or was it within the outer spheres of it? They didn't do that in any of these prosecutions. So when Trump made the payment to Michael Cohen, his monthly retainer that was subsequently allegedly, purportedly, apparently used to then hush money payment to porn star, was that a purely private act, purely personal? Was that within the orbit of presidential acts, like he's just paying legal fees? Or was it an official act? I mean, I don't know. We're certainly within the middle realm there. And so Chutkan didn't do that analysis. Jack Smith didn't do that analysis. Sweet Fannie Willis didn't do that analysis. What were some of the other ones? Judge Eileen Cannon had brought up the issue. I'm trying to think of other cases where they had to do that analysis. So they have to go back and do that analysis again. I told you that the Trump conviction in the New York Alvin Bragg, totally corrupt Juan Marchand, it's getting overturned. The only question is Judge Marchand himself going to set it aside now? Do that analysis. And then you have to have the question adjudicated beforehand. Is this a presumptively within the orbit of the president presidential act for which he has presumptive immunity? So hold on, now I can bring it back. That's the long and the short of trying to make sense of what the hell's going on here. Get the latest opt into MSNBC notifications on your web browser and get, maybe later. In fact, you know what? We're just going to go. I don't want to look at your awful, ugly website. You know what? Me and my big mouth. No one's archived that yet. Too bad. We're going to go here. All right. Judge postpones Trump's sentencing after hearing Supreme Court after his sentencing hearing after Supreme Court immunity ruling. Trying not to poison my ears there. Clarissa. Yes, Clarissa. That's from Silence of the Lambs. A judge on Tuesday Judge Marshall postponed Donald Trump's sentencing in his New York hush money case as the former president seeks to have his conviction overturned following the Supreme Court ruling that granted him some immunity in a separate criminal case. Oh, I thought the other media is saying it granted him total immunity to kill people. Oh, it grants him some immunity? Oh, you mean like the judicial immunity that judges benefit from, the qualified immunity that police benefit from, the sovereign immunity that government officials benefit from? Oh, some immunity like that? In a letter Tuesday afternoon, Judge Marchand said he would resolve Trump's motion to set aside the verdict and postpone his sentencing, if such is still necessary. That's a big if, Marchand. Totally corrupt Marchand, daughter. What is it called? It's called it's authentic PR. Where she represents other liars who might come up today. Adam Schiff. I think I have a video of Adam Schiff. Trump's lawyers launched their effort to get the verdict tossed out just hours after the Supreme Court's ruling on Monday, which said Trump is immune from criminal prosecution for some official acts in his federal interference case in Washington. Trump's lawyers argued on Monday that Manhattan prosecutors built their case in part based on evidence from Trump's time in office. That's when the payments went out, 2017. Such evidence, they claimed, is therefore inadmissible. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office on Tuesday said it doesn't oppose a delay in sentencing while the court works through Trump's motion. That's very nice of them. It's getting overturned, people. Then they won't be able to call him a convicted felon anymore, although they'll still go with the lie that is the convicted rapist. Trump's New York case was likely the only one of his 4 criminal cases to go to trial before November election. He had been due for sentencing on July 11th, 4 days before he's expected to be nominated for the presidential convention. Instead, Marchand has now set up a scenario in which Trump's guilty verdict might be tossed just 2 months before the November election. How might the judge rule? On the defense's motion is unclear. Trump's hush money conviction is largely centered on acts that he took as a presidential candidate, not as president. That's a lie, Clarissa Jan Lim. That's a lie. Every act that is the basis of the indictments, let me just take this out here, was performed. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, all the payments were effected once he was president, which is the entire absurdity of why would he have, how did this relate to falsifying an election when he was already president? So that's not true. I won't say it's a lie because I don't know your intentions, Clarissa, but that's a lie. In fact, all of the charges, as far as I understand it, relate to conduct once he was already president, and then they need to go through the analysis set out now by the Supreme Court as to whether or not it was within his core constitutional powers as president, whether or not it was purely personal, or whether or not it was within the outer orbit, and therefore presumptively immune, unless they can show, whatever. So that's one thing that's going on. Now I forgot how we got onto that, but let's look at some of these things here. Let me see. I think it was, so Democrats went from the president can be impeached for anything, even if it's not a crime, to the president can assassinate his political rival with impunity real fast. It's almost as if like they're morons or liars or a combination of both. But let's hear what this by the way, if you want to know when Rachel Maddow is lying, and the haha, not when her mouth is moving always, because sometimes she accidentally tells the truth, or sometimes, she's just saying words. Look at the way she does this when she talks. She says something, she goes, and I'm telling you, my belief and my assessment, having seen her baseline, is that when she's saying something that she doesn't sincerely believe, or that she sincerely does not believe, like, go out and get vaccinated. If you haven't been able to do it, now's the time. We don't want you to not be able to. Just look at the way when she's lying, because we know that she's lying about something here. She looks to the side here.
I really did not expect that they would do this. And
right there.
Donald Trump and his counsel.
I believe she didn't expect that they would do this. Everybody knew that he was coming down with some form of immunity. Look at her. It's to the left. So look at it. Sorry, I'll start again and I'm just going to let it play.
I really did not expect that they would do this. And Donald Trump and his counsel asked for this 100% absolute immunity thing, which was insane, I would say they got 105% of what they were asking for. They got immunity from this court, despite some of the language in Justice Roberts's the ruling saying that there was some measure of humility here, some measure of restraint. The practical impact of what they have done is to give Trump immunity that even he and his counsel did not ask for.
Okay, so she's either a liar or a moron, but at this point, I'm beyond giving her the benefit of the stupidity doubt. Trump, I believe that they didn't hammer this argument as home as much as they should have, but they did basically say, unless impeached and convicted, you cannot be prosecuted. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is my belief is the only proper immunity to be given to the president. I understand the majority's decision, and they didn't opt for that absolute, not absolute, but you don't get to indict, prosecute unless he's been impeached and convicted on it, period. Okay, fine. But that's what he asked for. Not that he can be prosecuted for purely private acts that he carried out as president. He asked for something which he didn't get, and somehow Rachel Maddow, in her mad cow disease-infested brain, thinks that he got more than what he asked for. But let's let Mad Cow finish this out here.
And given that the hypotheticals over the course of these arguments, as you rightly pointed out, included things like, can the president assassinate a rival? I think we have to look at the Supreme Court's affirmative answer to that. Yes, you can.
Every fear hides a wish, people. This is not a fear of what Trump will do. This is a dog whistle as to what they want done, period.
With as much seriousness as it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a death squad ruling. This is a ruling that says that as long as you can construe it as an official or quasi-official act, you can do absolutely anything.
You mean like when Obama drone killed American citizens with no due process, still hasn't been charged for that because he would undoubtedly argue that they were, I don't know, threats to America, domestic threats, although he killed them, overseas. He didn't kill them here. Obama has some standards. You mean like when Obama extrajudicially assassinated American citizens? My goodness, it's almost like presidents can get away with killing people.
Absolutely anything, and never be held accountable, not only while you are president, but forever.
Because you don't have impeachment and conviction and then subsequent prosecution. I mean, it's like they're idiots. They're liars who rely on the ignorance and stupidity of their followers to parrot their lies. They've forgotten about this thing called impeachment and conviction all of a sudden. They've forgotten about the crimes against humanity, alleged crimes against humanity, committed by George Bush Jr. They are forgetting about the bombing of aspirin factories as distractions from politics. They're forgetting about the murder carried out by former presidents. And now Trump is going to assassinate his First of all, Trump doesn't need to assassinate any political rival. All that they need to do to assassinate themselves is talk without a teleprompter, and they've effectively assassinated their own political futures. Okay, let's let it go.
And this is a president who has activated pro-Trump paramilitary groups that, wear insignia and T-shirts and hold placards celebrating literally right-wing death squads, right? This
literally right-wing death squads. Now that we know that when Rachel Madcow uses the word literally, she doesn't mean literally. So this is literally supports right-wing death squads, but literally not literally, because it's not literally and it's not true.
This is a president who has talked about absolutely using the Justice Department to go after his rivals.
Oh, you mean exactly like what Merrick Garland is doing? Exactly like how Clarence Thomas, in his infinite wisdom, highlighted the weaponizing of the Attorney General to appoint a private citizen to prosecute a political rival. Madcow, you are an absolute piece of trash. There's no, I'm sorry to use these words. They're worse than trash. Trash isn't destructive. It's only like, annoying. It's a nuisance. And you can pick it up and discard it and not have to deal with it again. This is like the trash that keeps on trashing. These people, and I'm referring to Rachel Maddow right now, are happy to destroy society through lies, through panic, and through violence-inducing fear-mongering. She's accusing Trump of potentially in the future going to do what they are doing in real time right now. And she knows it. And she's happy that they're doing it.
This explicitly immunizes anything the president wants to do through the Justice Department, but all but explicitly justifies anything the president wants to do, full stop, to anyone. And
Full
that
stop
is
to anyone.
as serious as it gets.
Look at her face right there. And that is as serious as it gets. Look at her face here.
Is as serious as it
I missed it. Hold on. Let me just satisfy myself here. Not that way.
stop to anyone. And that is
There you go.
as serious as it
That-
gets. I really did not
Oh,
expect that
yeah.
they would do this.
You expected it, you knew it, because it's the only rational reading of the decision. It's the only rational reading of the law and the Constitution. Trash describes every MSNBC host perfectly, says Mark. See, I need this to stop. There we go. There we go. I got that. Thank you. Do we head on over to Rumble? Let's head on over to Rumble. We'll get into Clarence. I suspect everybody saw my brief analysis of Clarence Thomas's opinion yesterday. I'm sitting up in the up north where I have to check in to go hiking. Internet sucks, and so takes forever to upload. And I just needed to highlight Clarence Thomas's ruling, or his opinion, short opinion, because it was magnificent and really highlighted. Like someone ultimately said it. Oh yeah. You're talking about immunity to weaponize the DOJ. First of all, it's not immune. And if someone finds that you've been doing it in a malicious way to personally profit, that would probably get out of the outer ambits of presumptive immunity for outer bound presidential acts. Impeach, convict. And you know what? I'd be happy to see Biden get impeached and convicted for how he's weaponized the DOJ, how he's in a treasonous manner, but not treason per se, allowed for an invasion of the southern border. I'd like to see Mayorkas successfully impeached and convicted. The View is the worst, says Plants Heat. Can't read what that says. Plants Heal. Oh, my mother watches The View, not in approval. They watch it as like watching a train wreck. But I hesitate to use, it's intellectual retardation is what it is. But it's worse because like the thing is this, I've been thinking about this. I've been, we have been reclaiming the word retarded. And I know the argument, using the word retarded is insulting to people with mental deficiencies. To which I say a number of things. First of all, okay, fine. You think the word retarded is offensive because it's making fun of people with mental deficiencies. We're going to come back to that. You use the word idiot. You know what idiot means? Someone with an IQ of less than 65 or whatever. Imbecile also has a clinical meaning. Moron also has a clinical meaning. So you use three other words with clinical meanings, but somehow the word retarded is the only taboo one because you think that one makes fun of retarded people, but calling someone an idiot doesn't make fun of idiots. Calling someone an imbecile doesn't make fun of imbeciles. All clinical terms. That's one thing. So it's a hypocritical or intellectually inconsistent position to take. If retarded is a taboo, so is idiot, so is imbecile, so is moron, and I can't think of any other words that have an actual clinical meaning based on IQ levels. Second of all, nobody calls mentally challenged people retarded in the sense to mock them, period. When you call someone retarded, like a Rachel Maddow, like a Dan Goldman, like an Adam Schiff, it is not to make fun of anyone with developmental challenges. It's to make fun of liars and scoundrels. It's to make fun of people who are literally destructive on intelligence and destructive on the free flow of accurate information. They are intellectual retardants. And so I think that word needs to be brought back a little bit more. But okay, that diatribe is over. Let me play one last thing before we head on over to Rumble. So speaking of, here we go. Speaking of intellectual retardants, like nobody would call Adam Schiff retarded because they want to demean or degrade people with mental challenges. In fact, that's the whole irony about it. That's what they know. And the word will be taken back. Look at this guy. And also, by the way, I don't want to make fun of his physical appearance because he might have a clinical reason for looking the way he looks. But is this guy doing Botox? Look at his face. Like,
we have some breaking.
Yeah. Let's hear Schiff for brains. Shifty eyes make Schiff liar. Tell us what the breaking news is about the SCOTUS decision.
We have some breaking news on Donald Trump and his legal problems. Just a few hours ago, the Supreme Court ruled on whether Donald Trump is immune from prosecution on charges relating to his efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
Do you know who he talks like? Dan Goldman, John Kirby, all of these. I'm convinced that if they're not intelligence outright, they're trained by intelligence. How to be hypnotic. Because my forehead looks a little. Use my scrunchie here to dab down. Yeah, very calm, very smooth, talking with the upper part of the throat, back of the nose. And you talk like this and try not to blink. Don't blink and have your crazy eyes. Just stare into people's souls. Listen, let's hear what Shit for Brains McSchiff has to say.
And they released a shocking and destructive decision.
Shocking and destructive.
Donald Trump will have immunity for official acts, an astonishing decision that validates the former president's attempts to undermine our democracy, and one that flies in the face of our founding principles and the idea that no one, not even the president, is above the law. If leaders can be immune from liability for criminal acts while in office, designed to overturn a free and fair election, that might very well be the end of our republic. Holding leaders accountable, no matter what office they hold, is the hallmark of every strong and healthy democracy. But this partisan Supreme Court just doesn't care. Our country is in grave danger if we allow any president to stay in power after losing and be held immune from legal consequences.
Everything that this man just said is a lie.
First and last line of defense for our democracy will be the ballot box, not the courts. This November, we must put an end to Trump's dictatorial ambitions.
Dictatorial ambition. Once and for all. Put an end to it once and for all. I mean, even if he loses, he could still run again in 4 years. So what the hell does that mean, shift for brains? I said shift for brains, for anybody who thinks I've been cussing too much. I'm going to leave that in the backdrop for a second because I want to come back to it. So first of all, here's one question. Is he doing Botox? And second of all, everything he just said was a straight up lie. Okay, now I'm noticing something. I don't see the super chats in I don't see the super chats in there. I'm going to read these. They cheapened the impeachment process so much with their nuisance hypocrisy against Trump that they forgot it was even a thing, says Dave Hardy for $10. Thank you very much. I don't see the I don't see this in Rumble Studio, so I'm just I see it here. And then we got from Big Moln, Arizona. Cheers, Viva. Keep up the great work. Use harsher language when describing Mad Cow. Oh. So just so you understand, everything that Shift for Brains just said is a lie. And I have to just, I just have to, like, no one is above the law. Okay. They've given him immunity. It's going to risk our democracy. Let me just go like this here. Qualified immunity. Let's just see what that is. Yeah, it's like they've forgotten about immunity that already exists. So you get qualified immunity is a judicially created doctrine that balances two vital interests: the need to hold public officials accountable when they exercise power irresponsibly, and the need to shield officials from harassment, distraction, and liability when they perform their duties. Let me see here. We got judicial immunity. Judicial immunity is a form of sovereign immunity, which protects judges and other employed by the judiciary from liability resulting from their judicial actions. What was sovereign immunity that you just mentioned in here? There's Canada, and then there's sovereign immunity is a legal doctrine whereby sovereign states cannot commit a legal wrong and is immune from civil suit and criminal prosecution, strictly speaking, in its own court. State immunity is similar. United, let's just see where the United States are. Oh, well, let's go states. We got this. In the United States, law, state, federal, and tribal governments generally enjoy immunity from lawsuits. Local governments typically enjoy immunity from some form of suits, in particular, tort. What's the other one? In the U.S., sovereign immunity falls into two categories. Absolute immunity, pursuant to which a government actor may not be sued for the alleged wrongful act, even if that person acted maliciously or in bad faith, and qualified immunity. These I didn't bring up the window. Well, that sucks. I'm an idiot. There you go. Sorry about that. These mother effers pretend like it didn't exist before. They don't want equality for Trump. They want to be able to abuse him relentlessly with no judicial respite. And they know it's a lie. Let's see what we got here. Bill Brown's in the house. we're going to move over to Rumble to not. So right, locals. I'm going to have to do something separate afterwards because I'm doing an interview with Richard Surrett at 5:38. Why can I not pin this one? I can't pin this one, Bill Brown, but it's got a meme and it says, "Turn in your guns and pay insane taxes to cover our reckless debt. Yeah, fuck you." And it says, "Happy Independence Day." At some point, there's nothing left to say but fuck off. Register to hike on a mountain? Fuck off. Roosting. So it doesn't seem I can pin memes, but we got columnist Amy Ham claims that, quote, there is a maximum that 99% of women chase 1% of men, and that Andrew Huberman, famous, intelligent, wealthy, handsome, has the charisma to make the rest of the 1% appear as chafe in comparison. Do you know this popular neuroscientist will be releasing his new book? Yeah, of course I do. And then there's a little bit more to that. As she is also a neuroscientist, do you think it would be great if your wife and you could co-interview him about his upcoming book, Roosting? First of all, yeah, my wife listens to him all the time. And I told her, get realistic with your visions of men, and she has, and that's how she ended up with me. No, she listens to Huberman all the time. I listen to Huberman a lot. He's smart. He's good. And he's a single, famous, wealthy man. Of course, he's going to be having lots of sex. And of course, that's going to start causing people problems. Keep your schmeckle in your pants, get married at a young age, and stay married, and you'll avoid a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? You'll avoid a lot of unnecessary heartache in life. Sec 808 says, Shift just said that democracy is over if voters control who is in office. They're idiots. They're idiots. All right, we're going to go over to Rumble. The link is in YouTube. I want to do one thing here. I want to test this out again. Let me see what we got going on here. See, this is beautiful. I'm using Rumble Studio, and I can see the rack, and there's some stuff that I wouldn't want to sponsor. No judgment. And there's some stuff that I would want to sponsor. And let's do this here. We're going to do this. I'm going to click over here. Yeah. We are going to do an ad. This is going to be like a little meta here. While using Rumble advertising, we are using Rumble Studio. I'm going to do an ad because I can click on these campaigns in real time auctions. And I'm going to do an ad for Rumble. This is how beautiful Rumble, the rack is, Rumble Advertising Center. Here it is, people. Bada bing, bada boom. You see that little QR code there. You can scan QR codes for good reason. QR codes are not bad, essentially or inherently. But if they make you freaking scan a QR code to go hiking in the mountains, no, I will not do it. But I will do an ad for Rumble. I love it. Make sure to download the Rumble app once you've downloaded it. Once you downloaded it, search for my channel and follow the channel directly on the app. This will make sure that you get notifications every time we go live. Some people actually do say, like, I don't get notifications, Viva. I get it like an hour in. That, from what I'm told, if you don't download the app, and I'm not actually trying to sell it any more than I have to, I got the app myself, I get instant notifications. So if you rely on the website, like the desktop version on your iPhone, or your mobile phone, if you use an Android, it won't work quite as well. Download the app, and you will get instant notifications every time I go live. Salty Cracker, The Quartering, all of the greats, Robert Gouveia, everyone's on Rumble right now. Hilarious mess up. I'm such an idiot. I accidentally posted my locals link in Salty Cracker's chat on Sunday night because I had the wrong window open. I apologize publicly and privately to him because I did not mean to look like a total jackass. But bottom line, download the app. Click the link in the description or the pinned live chat to download the Rumble app on your phone. It's free. You get immediate notifications. It's amazing. If you prefer to watch me on the big screen, it's also available for Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, so much TV, Roku, LG, and Samsung TVs. All you need to do is search for it on Rumble. It's amazing. Support the platform. And we are going to support the platform by dropping CommuTube. I'm not dropping Twitter because Twitter's not bad, but we're going to vote with our dollars, vote with our eyeballs. Come on over to Rumble, Viva Fry, or Rumble, Viva Fry, or vivabarneslaw.locals.com, and we're going to end it on, how do I do this? We're going to end it on Twitter and the other one, YouTube. I'm going to end it now and keep it on Rumble and Locals. Okay, bam. Now, there won't be any Locals after party specifically or right after this because I've got... I just got a text. Hold on a second. Let me see who this is from. Okay, so sorry, let me do this and then this. Okay. Someone that I might be meeting at the RNC. So I'm going to do a live interview with Richard Surrett at 5:38. So I'll do a locals. We'll do a martini with Viva, a locals exclusive afterwards, and we'll talk about some thoughts. All right, now we're good. We're on Rumble and we're on locals. Okay, good. Let me see here, live chat, and then we go to the donations. We said, oh, Ginger Ninja's in the house. He says, Viva, don't worry, Viva. You were signing in for your safety. That way, if something were to happen to you on the trail, they can come rescue you. I love Big Brother saying Viva. Well, that is the logical explanation. But again, Ginger, I'm going to swear. Go fuck yourself, government. You're not my. I have my mother. I told my parents where I was going. I was with my wife. I was with kids. Piss off. You are not my father, government. I will not say I love you, Big Brother. I am actually going to say I hate you, Big Brother, at the top of my lungs. I'm going to scream it from the top of Mont Sourire. It's a beautiful hike, by the way. Did Viva say earlier that he had 4 children this morning? And congratulations on the quadruplets in order. Dude, P.S. Bates, I had 2 other kids sleep over with my kid. My kid had sleep over. And it's funny, when you're with like 4 kids, holy crab apples. Some fall asleep late and others wake up at 5:55 in the morning when they hear Pudge whining in the bathroom and have to be coaxed back to bed. Let me see here. We got, you don't call retarded people retards. It's bad taste. You call your friends retards when they're acting retarded. Michael Scott, The Office. Yeah, that's it. And then let me see something here. Put this on pin. Don't they realize the immunity ruling is the only thing protecting Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden? No, they realize that. They didn't want Trump to have it. What do we got here? Schiff just said them. Okay, we got that. All right. So now, Schiff is an idiot. Schiff is an idiot, and like I cannot rail against Schiff enough. He's an absolute idiot, but he's not the only one. Let me see what we got here. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that and tribalism. All right, so we'll get to some of the stuff on the. Well, let's get to the more interesting stuff. I don't want to go through the majority decision. It's very boring. It's very tedious. But the bottom line. Let's get this one out of here. I've lost my screen now. Hold on 1 second. The bottom line, like the essence of the decision, is there's constitutional reasons for which the president, when exercising his constitutional rights, his constitutional obligations and duties, is obviously immune, period. I mean, how else do you think, like, you order killings? How else do you do? How else do you wage war? Obviously. And then they went with the caveat, which is going to be where all of this is going to come down to, that for purely personal acts, you don't have immunity. And for acts that fall within the outer boundary of presidential acts, we're going to need to do an analysis, which was not done in any of these prosecutions. It's a very logical ruling that would ordinarily placate everyone's desires, because on the one hand, I think it should have been total, impeach, convicted, or nothing, period. But then people are like, well, all that you need is 66 corrupt senators to not convict, and then you have someone who's above the law. Great. I'd rather have that than one rogue George Soros-funded district attorney who thinks he's above the law. I mean, I'd rather take my chances with 66 corrupt senators than with one corrupt district attorney or one corrupt attorney general. Leticia James, I'm looking your way. The dissenting opinion was nothing but fear-mongering. Like, nothing but baseless fear-mongering. Anytime they say, with fear for democracy, I dissent. Shut the hell up. What is it? With fear? I don't care about your feelings. It's with respect to the Constitution, I concur. That's what it should have been. But the best part about this entire decision was what I refer to as the judicial bitch slapping of the dissent. Because we'll pull up a little bit of what they said here, but like I just loved it. This is from the majority. As for the dissents, they strike a tone of chilling doom that is wholly disproportionate to what the court actually does today. Conclude that immunity extends to official discussions between the president and his attorney general, and then remand to the lower courts to determine, quote, in the first instance, end quote, whether and to what extent Trump's remaining alleged conduct is entitled to immunity. And they did it multiple times. And the dissent takes their dissent, and it's just like watching an episode of Jerry Springer Supreme Court edition. They go like, oh, the majority has no respect for democracy and thinks that they can greenlight assassinations left, right, and center. Coming up short of unreasoning, the dissents repeatedly level variations of the accusation that the court has rendered the president above the law. And there's nothing clearer than that being wrong, than the president cannot shoot his chef because he didn't like the food and then claim it was within the outer bounds of presidential conduct. I mean, he could argue it, but I don't think anybody's going to find that unless the food was really, really bad. I mean, maybe he can drown his chef, but that'll be within the outer bounds of presidential conduct. Oh, but it was an accident. Bada bing, bada boom. You know where I'm going with that. All right, that was one other bitch slapping, and the other one was this. My eyes are getting very bad. The dissent's position in the end boiled down to ignoring the Constitution's separation of powers and the court's precedent, and instead fear-mongering on the basis of extreme hypotheticals about a future where the president, quote, feels empowered to violate federal criminal law. You mean like when Joe Biden weaponizes the DOJ and, as Clarence Thomas pointed out, uses his weaponized DOJ, Merrick Garland, to unlawfully appoint a special prosecutor, private citizen, to prosecute a president? Yada, yada, yada. Let's see here. The dissent overlooks the more likely prospect of an executive branch that cannibalizes itself with each successive president free to prosecute his predecessors, yet unable to boldly and fearlessly carry out his duties for fear that he may be next. For instance, Section 371, which has been charged in this case, is a broadly worded criminal statute that can cover, quote, any conspiracy for the purposes of impairing, obstructing, or defeating the lawful function of any department of government. Virtually every president is criticized for insufficiently enforcing some aspect of federal law, such as drug, gun, immigration, or environmental laws. An enterprising prosecutor in a new administration may assert that a previous president violated that broad statute. Without immunity, such types of prosecutions of ex-presidents could quickly become routine. They've already become routine. So it's not like, sometimes you can there's close call rulings. There's a right ruling and there's a wrong ruling. And the minority on this is wrong. Link to the tweet. Although I shared it with locals already. Let's go here. Link. Bada bing, bada boom. Now I see some Rumble rants and I want to see if they're still up here in the donations. And I think they are. So that's that. We're going to talk about, we should talk about Clarence Thomas. I won't go as thorough as I did yesterday. What do we got here? Barnes stated yesterday that the impeachment doesn't matter anymore because still immune is it only removes from office. True. Well, I don't know what you mean by, and I listened. I'm going to go back and listen to what Barnes said yesterday before I say anything. The issue, hold on a second, let me read this. Barnes stated yesterday the impeachment doesn't matter anymore because still immune, it only removes from office. I see. So if they impeach him, that's interesting. So they could, well, no, it would, if we assume that the impeachment was a purely political process, it didn't need a crime. Obviously, then prosecution, if it was predicated on not a crime, wouldn't be an issue. The absurdity of the the two impeachments was when the Democrats, the progressives, and the liberals were arguing that impeachment didn't require a crime. Obviously, if it doesn't require a crime, there's going to be no prosecution, even if he's impeached and convicted. It's a purely political process. So I understand what Barnes is saying for that. It'll remove you from office, but you're not going to get prosecuted if what you were removed from office for wasn't a crime. But I still think that interpretation of impeachment for high crimes, for other high crimes and other, treason, etc., treason and other high crimes and misdemeanors needed to be a crime. Damn, make Alex Jones VP. No, press secretary. That would be amazing. And then, okay, we got that there. Okay, let's talk Clarence Thomas. I'm not going to bring up the analysis that I did yesterday, but Clarence Thomas just brought and put on blast. Basically, remember when Clarence Thomas laid out the groundwork for how to challenge Section 230 immunity? Was it Section 230 immunity under the the CDA? Hold on one second. Section 230 immunity. Yeah, Section 230 immunity. The word immunity was confusing me. In one of his, it wasn't a dissent. It was just a separate opinion. Clarence Thomas laid out how one could in the future go about challenging Section 230 immunity. I covered that at the time. I loved it. It was a great decision. Yesterday, in his decision, where he concurred with the majority but issued his own opinion, it was an 8-pager, he laid out the groundwork for what Judge Eileen Cannon can adjudicate now to declare that hack of a, not missionary, it's not the word mercenary, sorry, that hack of a mercenary, Jack Smith, how she can order him removed, his office, which was just created out of whole cloth, abolished, how she could declare him improperly appointed, and therefore the entire fruits of his unlawful prosecution stricken, basically. Clarence Thomas went out in his very thorough 8-page analysis and said, you know what is a greater threat to democracy? Not immunizing a president, but rather letting a government run lawless without respecting the legal requirements of appointing officers for positions that exist under law or that abide by the lawful precedent or the lawful process of appointing people. When there's confirmation hearings for appointees to the Supreme Court for positions of power, there's a reason why you go through that confirmation process. They have to get approved by government. You don't get to pick out of a hat the only corrupt hack who was allegedly engaged in corruption in Europe, doing whatever the hell he was doing there. You don't get to pick a private citizen without having it vetted by the Senate. I might get some of my government branches mixed up here. You don't get to pick a private citizen mercenary and bypass all government oversight so you can have an unlawful prosecution of your political rival. And Clarence Thomas, in what I think has still been the most overlooked aspect of this ruling, basically said that Jack Smith's appointment was unlawful, illegal. There was no provision of law under which he was, there's no office to which he was appointed. It didn't respect the provisions of law. And it's basically a rogue private citizen who's strong-arming or acting as a government mercenary at the behest request of Attorney General Merrick Garland. So that cannot be understated in terms of importance. We're going to see Jack Smith declared, his position declared unlawful, and then his entire prosecution, both in Florida and DC. I don't know. I don't know if it gets stricken or they put it on pause and try to find another prosecutor who gets properly appointed after Senate hearings, congressional hearings, who gets properly appointed. So that is that's the essence of Clarence Thomas's amazing framework. As he did with Section 230 challenging it, he's laid out how you go about challenging and asking for Jack Smith to be removed. And I think Eileen Cannon is going to get, I forget which trial it was that you had the amicus brief from, we covered it, I covered it specifically, Barnes and I talked about it on the Sunday show. There was an amicus brief suggesting that Jack Smith was unlawfully appointed from the get-go and that his entire prosecution is therefore unlawful. Eileen Cannon's got the groundwork from the smartest justice on the Supreme Court, Justice Clarence Thomas. What legal maneuvers are valid concerning Bannon et al? For now, Bannon's going to go do his time. It's going to be more of a political maneuver. We're going to give Bannon more of a voice than he would have from freedom. The man is a freaking, I mean, he's a hero in a way, and he'll say, I'm not a hero. I'm not doing this voluntarily. But, the guy comes out and says, I've served my country in the Navy. I believe it was in the Navy. I'll serve my country in jail as a political prisoner. And it's up to the rest of us to put that voice on absolute blast. Okay, then we got Steve Britton, who's in the house here. He's got this one. It says, conviction after impeachment means removal from office, but it also suggests immunity is null and void because removal is ostensibly for a crime. Or at least it should be. Nixon wasn't impeached, so he was immune from prosecution. I don't know. There's a debate as to whether or not Nixon was immune from prosecution. If he was immune from prosecution, they wouldn't have pardoned him. So I'm not sure. I think the whole issue was that it wasn't clear that you couldn't prosecute a president. That's why they pardoned him, but that by no means confirmed that you could prosecute, and it by no means confirmed that you were immune from prosecution. Okay, good. I'm glad we had that discussion. So that's what's going on there, but there's some more stuff that I want to highlight, like the idiotic takes. Is this it? Oh no. Well, okay, here, let's just jump in. I want to go to the dissent, just a bit of it. Like, you just go down so much. So it's 119 pages, but there's like 10 pages of summary. The majority decision is like 35 pages. Then you got an 8-page of concurring opinion from. Look at this. Let's just. In short, America has traditionally relied on the law to keep its presidents in line. What does that even mean? Starting today, however, Americans must rely on the courts to determine when, if at all, the criminal laws that their representatives have enacted to promote individual and collective security will operate as speed bumps to presidential action or reaction. Once self-regulating, the rule of law now becomes the rule of judges, with courts pronouncing which crimes committed by a president have to be let go and which can be redressed in as impermissible. Oh, you mean kind of like all immunity that government officials already benefit from? This is why I say it's just moronic. It's not a dissenting opinion that is tenable, that is otherwise able to be rationalized. They just wanted to be able to prosecute Trump with impunity. Judges benefit from a form of judicial immunity. Police officers benefit from qualified immunity, and government officials benefit from sovereign immunity. Maybe they shouldn't at all, but they do. And so now they're saying basically, oh shit, you mean we got to treat the president the way we treat all other police officials, judges, and federal officials? Oh my goodness, we got to treat the president the same way all other government is treated? Determine if the act that they performed was in the context of their duties as an elected official and they don't get to be charged and prosecuted for that? Oh gosh, how terrible. So ultimately, this court itself will decide whether the law will be any barrier to whatever course of criminality emanates from the Oval Office in the future. The potential for great harm to American institutions and Americans themselves is obvious. The majority of my colleagues seem to have put their trust in our court's ability to prevent presidents from becoming kings through case-by-case application of the indeterminate standards of their new presidential accountability paradigm. I fear they are wrong, but for all our sakes, I hope they are right. In the meantime, because the risks and power the court has now assumed are intolerable, unwarranted, and plainly antithetical to the bedrock constitutional norms, I dissent. Oh, the courage to say, I want to be able to prosecute Trump. Well, everyone's gotten the decision if you're in our locals community. Here, link to decision. Executive can violate civil, i.e., I can't read that. Chat. But not that I can't read. I'm like impermissible. I can't make it out. Grazie, Viva. But why in God's name make Jones less than VP? Press secretary? Niet malo. That's coming from Falling. No, because well, first, I don't even think he'd want any of it. But and what do we got here? Ginger Ninja. I see it being similar to if one person pleads guilty to accessory to murder, that doesn't mean the alleged murderer was guilty of murder. Nixon being pardoned doesn't mean Trump is vulnerable. Oh, anyhow, the bottom line is the majority is the right decision, even if it didn't go as far as I think it should have. And the dissent is wrong, period. Because they're not saying that nobody's above the law. They're saying that the president is below the law because there are official duties there's official laws that only apply to the president. There's official immunities that only apply to the president. There's official discretion that only applies to the president. He is not like every other citizen, period, because there are specific laws, privileges, and executive powers that apply only to the president. They didn't want no one to be above the law. They wanted Trump to be under the law, period. I like the way that ended. But now let's just see what some of the idiots are saying here. Ilan Omar says the Supreme Court can no longer be trusted to uphold the Constitution. I thought when Trump undermined the Supreme Court or judges, it was treasonous. If Donald Trump is reelected, the convicted felon, rapist, and twice impeached former president will be able to do whatever the hell he wants. Talk about a little confession through projection. It's a scary day for American democracy. If he's reelected, it's a scary day for democracy. Because Hitler was elected too. If you notice the talking point of Trump being compared to Hitler, all of these jackass intellectual retards are running the same talking point. And they run it in tandem. It's like, I don't think that there's like a memo that goes out. It's just a hive mind. It's just, they know this is the talking point today. Okay, we've seen it here, we've seen it there. Better start parroting it ourselves. So that's Ilan Omar, who married her brother, allegedly, talking about the death of democracy because she cares so much for American democracy. All right, let me see here. No, I got that. In the Matrix, let's listen to this. This is Joe Biden. Oh, I can't. It's too long. I was going to start the video with this. Joe Biden's assessment of this. By the way, he's reading from a teleprompter. A, he's still unintelligible. And B,
presidency is the most powerful office in the world. It's an office that not only tests your judgment, perhaps even more importantly, it's an office that tests your character. Because you not only face moments when you need the courage to exercise the full power of the presidency,
I didn't understand what he just said there.
you also face moments where you need the wisdom to respect the limits of the power of the office of the presidency. This nation was founded on the principle there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law.
No, we're not, because there is something called executive privilege that I don't have because I'm not the president.
No one is above the law.
Oh, so hold on a second. So Trump can't declassify whatever documents he wants because, I mean, I can't. So surely he shouldn't be able to either.
Not even the President of the United States.
No.
Today's Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity, that fundamentally changed.
No, it didn't.
For all practical purposes.
For all
Today's
practical
decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what the president can do.
Can you imagine, like, it's hard to read the decision. It's hard to read the dissent. It's hard to understand. There's virtually no limits. Holy shit, are there a ton of limits? Anything purely personal. And then there'll be an analysis for if we argue that it's sort of on the outer bounds, but not presidential. Oh, but no limits. No limits. He can beat a dog and eat a dog in the White House. Immune. He's immune because it's presidential dinner.
This is a fundamentally new principle.
No, it's not.
And it's a dangerous precedent.
No, it's not.
Because the power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law, even including the Supreme Court of the United States. The only limits will be self-imposed by the president alone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we not just hear how from even the dissent, it's going to be the court's decision to adjudicate on whether or not certain things, they just lie to you because they assume you're idiots.
This decision today
They lie to you because they hate you and they have no respect for you.
has continued the court's attack in recent years on a wide range of long-established legal principles in our nation. From gutting voting rights and civil rights, to taking away a woman's right to choose, to today's decision that undermines the rule of law of this nation.
Do you understand? He's only looking between two teleprompters.
Nearly 4 years ago, my predecessor sent a violent mob to the U.S. Capitol.
I can't listen to it. He's a liar. He's a liar because he hates you and he has no respect for you, period. And people are still going to vote for that corpse because, yeah. Party over country and anyone blue will do. Elect Omar for Guantanamo. She's not even American. I understand why. I say maybe one day I'll be governor of Florida. I do understand why there should be some citizenship requirements in order to occupy certain offices. Oh, here we go. Hold on 1 second. I missed this. Rumble ate my original Rumble rant. I wrote that the New York case shouldn't be tossed for immunity, but Marchand may go for it to avoid it being overturned on appeal. M. Sidler, that's a very, very decent. Hold on. Sorry, I got my feet on here. Merchant's been looking for a way to get out of that decision for a little while now. I mean, we all suspected that letter that he issued about the potential compromised juror. I mean, first of all, have we heard boo on that since? That was one way to start laying the groundwork for getting out of that, backing out of the conviction without it being a judicial embarrassment to him. It's a very decent point. But let's see what else. I cannot listen to Joe Biden for the full 4 minutes of that. Let's end with a bit of a fun thing here. Here, let's end with this. Intellectual retardants. Thy name is Kamala Harris.
No, Taraji. Now, you know I wouldn't do that, especially not to a fellow bison. The real HU, you know. So what's on your mind? Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line.
This is as bad as Justin Trudeau's Christmas Santa Claus get the QR code vaccine passport up. This is stuff that it makes your sphincter clench with cringe.
Our basic freedoms are being tested, Madam VP. I know you've been traveling across the country. Oh, yeah. What are you hearing?
Listen to this.
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you.
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets talking in the... She grew up in Westmount. She grew up in Montreal. She went to Westmount High School up the street from where I grew up. Yeah, girl, I'm out here working them streets. What is
Girl,
this?
I'm out here in these streets.
In these
And let me
streets.
tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they not like us.
These extremists, they not like us. You want to talk about dehumanizing rhetoric that pretty much, if you want to talk about who more closely resembles Hitlerian policy, they not like us. They not human. Anything goes.
As they say, they not like us. They not.
They
There's
not.
a full-on
They
attack
not like
on
us.
our fundamental freedoms. The freedom to vote. Yep. The
Yep.
freedom to love who you love. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom for a woman to make decisions about her own body, not having her
They
government tell her what to do.
like us. They not like us. I mean, I can't. And they want to talk about other people using rhetoric that echoes more sinister times of our past. Hold on one second. We got something here. Pin this. Joe Biden and the Democrats truly believe that they are smarter than everyone else. They think you are stupid. They also believe that they have a divine right to power, just like the Liberal Party of Canada, Stephen Britton. I agree with that. They're those extremists. They not like us, and you can do what you want with them. Okay, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to give everybody the link. We're going to do a quick 10 minutes exclusive on Rumble here. Let me give everybody the link to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Come on over. If you're not coming over, I'll be live tomorrow. Don't worry about it. I think I just agreed to do an interview at 11. I forget what else I have. There's some stuff. Viva is a talking head jackass if he refers to America as a democracy. Hold on one second. Let me say. Oh, MW2. Yes, it's a democratic republic. We use certain words because we understand what they mean. But I am not a talk. Well, I have a head and I talk, and I am a jackass. So I guess maybe you're actually right about everything you just said there. All right. Let's go. Come on over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Consider becoming a supporter. And locals, I will come back afterwards. We're going to do a 10-minute fast Q&A because I got the 5:38 with Richard Surrett. We're going to end it on Rumble. And if you're not coming over, I'll see you tomorrow. If you are coming over, I'll see you there now. Local supporters only. Let's do this. Bada bing, boom, updating stream. Thank you all for being here. It's been fantastic. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've let some steam out, as have I. Local supporters only coming up now. Boom. See y'all later. All right. This stream will be for local supporters in 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, They Not Like Us is a reference to the Drake diss track by Kendrick Lamar. A Snuffleupagus. I don't care. Like, that's like saying, no, by the way, I appreciate that. I didn't know that. I don't care. That's like saying, well, I'm only, if I say, kill Whitey, I'm only referencing a Saturday Night Live skit. Kill the white people. Does everyone remember that? Oh, but buy my record first. So yeah, I don't care if it's a reference to another song. You quote certain things in a certain context. Everybody can understand pretty much what you're getting at there. I'm going to and we're going to read the comments down here. Let's see this. Constitutional Republic, Tracy Lynn 7. Yes, and I got that. Bill Brown sent a picture of Templeton the hog, looking big and looking beautiful. Damn, that's amazing. She's right though. We not like them. Yeah, no. Yes, we are educated. We are informed on the topics. Formerly Constitutional Republic, says Colorado Watch. We're not pedos, says Bill Brown. Thumbs up, says Boopsy. Happy Piggy, says Janice TR. Constitutional Republic says the real Arthur Blake. So locals. Let me see. I had something that I was going to talk to you exclusively about, but I forgot what it is now. I forgot what it is. Have a banana in honor of the Republican, and LBJ Dulls 63 forcibly gave us. We're basically honest, says Boopsy, and Solstrom says we generally speak in complete sentences. Now he ditched the people on Rumble, says Holy Harlot. Yeah, I ditched people. We've got a locals community, and so we got Jill Biden. Oh my God, Jill Biden on the cover of Vogue. So first of all, am I the only idiot who didn't realize that Dr. Jill Biden is not a doctor? Her degree, is in like a doctorate of education. Oh my goodness! Republican convention visit to Wisconsin, says Power Cleric. Yeah, I think Barnes and I are gonna go, and we're gonna do something amazing. I will do some man on the streets interviewing of counter protesters. I mean, technically, it's not within the secured perimeter. But I'm going to do that because I don't believe that things are going to get out of hand there, given the security. It's going to be amazing. So, well, this is a little exclusive. So we're going to go. I think Barnes and I are going. The only question is, how much family do I take? Because we're going to be in Toronto on the 12th. And then I think we're going to drive to Wisconsin. And it's like a 5-day thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to spend all 5 days there. Barnes and I are going to be there, and we're going to have our credentials, and we're going to have a United States Secret Service clearance, because in order to get behind certain walls, you need that. So there's going to be a protest field set out outside that will not be beyond security checkpoints. So technically, I guess, it might be risky, but there's going to be so much security all over that town. It's going to be wild. And I'm going to do Viva on the Street interviews, and it's going to be fantastic. Bill Brown says it's honorary. Edumacation says, hey, idiot. So that's the plan. Barnes and I are going to go down there. We're going to do our show from there. We're going to have the Rumble studio for 1 hour, but it's going to be busy. And we're going to do on-the-site interviews of people, attend certain events, and give us some sound. Viva says, Madman on YouTube. They got a 5-minute of this. We're okay. All your base belong to us, says, okay. Yet another PhD, Dr. Jill. But the thing is, it's a doctorate. It's not even maybe that is a doctorate. Stephen Britton says a degree is recognition of what you can do. An honorary degree is recognition of what you have done, or in some cases, who you have done. Bada bing, bada boom. What's the difference in her case? Nothing and nothing, says LTV stuff. So that's what's going to go on there. And it's going to be fantastic. David, did you notice in the debate, Joe said women who don't know they're pregnant and can't talk to their doctors about what to do about their pregnancy? That may not be the exact quote, but pretty close. He makes absolutely no sense. Denise Antou, he said women who have been raped by their sisters. Like, the man is demented. I still have my money on him not being the president. Let me see here. I'm just going to predict it and meticulously and obsessively checking. So DJ Vance is still doing good. Joe Biden now, by the way, is at 50 cents, 50-50 that he's going to be the presidential candidate for the Democrats. Kamala Harris is up 23 cents today. She's tripled her likelihood. She's at 37 cents based on the markets as to her being the president, the candidate, the presidential candidate for the Democrats. So that's wild. But there's going to be a shit show of infighting when Joe Biden bows out. He will, voluntarily, or I would even dare say involuntarily. And I'll share with you my major and majorist concern is that they build people up to whip them up into violence. And my concern is that they're going to do something to Biden and then blame it on backlash from Republicans or the right or the extremists. And they're going to, they would sooner descend the Americas into the constitutional republic that are these United States of Americas into civil war than allow for an election that would see someone who they've basically not just compared to Hitler, but said is worse than Hitler, rise to power again. I still have 905 shares of no for Biden at an average of 15 cents a share. Nice. I got more than 905, but let me see what I got. I got in at 13 cents a share. What am I averaging at? Hold on. I paid 14 cents. So we got in at the same time. Whereas JC says, I was contemplating this Donald J. Trump JDV 2024. He'd better pick JD Vance. He's going to. It's got to be. He's got to have someone young. A big fuck you is what it's got to be. To the powers that be. Textmaster, $5 says, hold on. No, come on up. No. Let me see if I can do it here. Did I get it? Textmaster? Yes. Viva, if you are going to bet Barnes on whether or not Pato Joe is dropping out, don't let him trick you into a loser shaves their head bet. I'm not shaving my head ever. People, let me see what happens if I click on. I could leave the interview up in the backdrop if you guys want to see a one-sided me talking to Richard Surrett. I don't think you'll be able to see. Let's see, open in Zoom. You won't be able to see my end of it. Do you guys want to like leave me here? I'm going to be looking at the camera, but talking to Richard Surrett in a Zoom call. Connecting. Join. Okay, that's the right camera. Do you want me to keep running this and we can You can watch that. It'll be kind of weird because you won't hear Richard's questions and you're going to hear me talk about a lot of the same stuff over and over again. It's amazing how many makeup influencers are also experts on constitutional law. Who knew, said Sammy. I have a doctorate and never call myself doctor, says Will's mom too. I think it's pretty pretentious when you don't have a doctor, when you don't have like a scientific PhD to call yourself a doctor. Like, if you have a PhD in philosophy, you're going to call yourself a doctor? Go straight to pretentious heaven.